$15, huh? Okay. Okay, this is a quick video for the KZ EDX Pro. It's a $14 set of earphones, and it sounds actually really good. And I'm kind of blown away. I'm in not a special mood today. I feel fine, don't feel bad, don't feel great. Your mood affects your interpretation of everything around you, including earphones. And I'm in an average mood, and these absolutely kind of stun me. First of all, $14. I'm used to the recent CCA and there's some $100 KZs, and yeah, okay, this is back in their wheelhouse. $15. If I wanted to buy a large size Big Mac set plus an extra double cheeseburger, because that's how I roll, I need that much to fill up, it cost me about $12 in Japan, about 1200 yen, I'm pretty sure, which is about the same price as this. For perspective, a lunch at a fast food restaurant is about what this costs, and I can use this as a beater set to take out and not worry if I dropped it and stepped on it. I wouldn't want to do that, but if it happened, it's $12, no big deal. And there's nothing really jumping out about it that is truly like, watch out for that. Let's take a look at the graph. As you can see, it's got elevated bass. This is a little bit misleading because it's not bloaty, it's not slow, it's not woolly, it's not any of those things. In fact, at some moments it sounds not like the graph would infer that this would be quite a bassy set. It is at times, but it's not overwhelming at other times. Heart, Magic Man, I'll get to that later, but I was expecting different stuff. As you can see, it's got extension that goes all the way off. Let me go ahead and stop this and I'll get started with the bass and we'll talk about this. No, let's hold on just a second. The CCA CA24, the AST, it's the same thing. Let me quiet this, put these two up, and you can see they're both 12BAs, so I don't know if I'll be doing a video for the CCA CA24 because it would basically be, it looks better than the AST, but it sounds identical because it's the same set. So let me go ahead and get out of there, go back, and then shut this down and we'll start with the bass. Okay, in the bass department, I'm actually listening to, since I've been limited, I was checking out Friends. Let's go ahead and see what I was doing. This is when the Levee Breaks Led Zeppelin cover by Dave Gibson was put up in 2014. It's got, he's probably way along in his life and has forgotten about this channel completely. As you can see, I typed Led Zeppelin Friends drum cover. Let me space that out. I couldn't find anything anyway, because he's playing the bongos, and I thought that the way that that was coming through sounded really good. It's off the third album. It's called Friends. This guy is doing the authoritative kick drum, and he's shaking the camera when he's hitting the kick drum. You can see it right now. Ready? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, get some of that. Boom. This set plays that moment quite nice. I'll just go ahead and get out of there, but that was, I stumbled on that and thought, that's a really cool effect. So I was listening to bongos on Friends, then I went to the fourth album and I listened to When the Levee Breaks, authoritative kick drum. That should be without question. And it was there, but it wasn't as much as I was expecting based on the graph. This is an interesting set. It's a V-shaped set, but it's not quite what I was expecting. KZ, $15, elevated bass. I was thinking something else. For example, Big Boy by Killjoy, I was expecting this to be a savage, thunderous hit, and it's not. It's an emphasized big hit, but it's not that big. Hatsune Miiku's vocals are a little bit intense. That's relative to the treble, upper mids. Borderline, I could put up with it. I was okay. I was waiting for the bass hit, and it came through, and then I noted that was not, that was fine. That was not slamming, though. Black Sabbath, Masters of Reality, the fast bass pulls and releases. Again, more than I expected. The clarity of the releases, the decay of the strings when they're released, multiple pulls per second, was about average for sets that are in the $50 to $150 range. There's no clear deficiency in the low-end performance of this set. Using 4-string bass guitar, using a deck mixed low-frequency triple hit, one or two of them in the sub bass, I wasn't picking it up. I went into Sultans of Swing so that I could check the position of the bassist relative to Mark Knopfler. and it actually sounded, this is when this set started to really take off. When I started to listen to rock and roll, especially guitar strums, acoustic, vocals, I thought that this sounded like a beast. So I'm going to go ahead and finish with bass. Bass is elevated in the graph to the same extent as the AST. That's a BA, so it should be, this has more bass. I don't think so. I think that the AST BA bass in its volume and tonality sounds more present than this dynamic driver set. Is that related to the plastic shell, whereas a lot of the sets that are metallic, like the TFC number 3 Ti, the metal one, the Belon 03, the Canas Pro, the KXXS, the Semcart CNT1, a lot of my favorite dynamics, the Oxygen 02, they're in metal shells. The effects of plastic shells they're real. Is that part of this? I'm not really sure. But I think that the bass plays back well and is not as bassy as the graph might indicate. So that's the bass. It's not bad. 15 bucks? Yeah, no problem. Okay, the mid frequencies. Let's start with Elton John. Someone saved my life tonight. Dun dun dun. Tss. The cymbal strikes are prominent. I'm checking that. That's a treble event, but I'm coming to Elton John because he's got piano. He's a pianist in most all of his music, and that's an instrument that literally crosses the entire audible range, all the way from where you can pick up the low frequency, the keys, and all the way up to the highest frequency for the human hearing, around 15 kilohertz. There's energy from a piano. So that is one of the only instruments that covers the entire range, pretty much. If you go to interactive frequency response, I think it's still online. It's got the piano like superimposed over the graph of where the instrument's fundamental and harmonics are. So I like the piano because it kind of gives me a sense of if the mids are a little too scooped. I wasn't finding that out, and I thought that the replay of piano, I thought that Elton John's voice sounded really, really good on Philadelphia Freedom and Someone Saved My Life Tonight. And then I went to Heart, which is right here. And I listened to Magic Man. I don't know if you're familiar with this song. I won't sing it. I'll skip that. Her vocals on this track sound so fucking sweet that I couldn't believe it. You guys know me. I hype stuff sometimes. I don't do videos for things I don't like because I think someone else will be able to appreciate it, and I'm not going to crap on gear. I thought this would be good. It's $15. It's hard not to wreck something that affordable because someone's going to find the beauty in it and not be dinged financially. This legit plays back this particular track, Magic Man from Dreamboat Annie, really, really well. Her vocals sound so appealing and engaging. I really, really enjoyed this. And also the strumming, again, guitar strumming sound great. The bassist is in the background, and sometimes the bassist sounds a little bit too much, and I think this is not the best quality recording, but I know it's a vinyl rip and I know it's good quality. This played it back like it's a high quality rip. It sounded good, and again, I'm thinking the bassist is not dominating at any time. Even when I go back to bass evaluation and I'm trying to get the slam, it's not really doing that. It's not a big bassy bombastic set. Elevated bass, but not much. That's why the mids are not seeming to be overwhelmed. The guitar is crisp and clear. The vocals, male and female. Elton John sounded great. She sounds great. These are two sisters, I believe. I can't remember which one's doing the lead on Magic Man. She sounded Annie? Is that her name? I think I'm looking at Dreamboat Annie. I can't remember their names. They both look gorgeous when they're young, and then one of them kind of... Anyway, change the topic. So I think the mid-frequencies on this, male and female vocals, also Fleetwood Mac Rumors album I listened to because it's got two males, Mick Fleetwood and Lindsey Buckingham, and it's also got Stevie Nicks and Christy McVie, and they're jumping in at different times, all four of them, so you get male and female vocals. It's also very well produced. This is a DSD right here. That doesn't matter, but it's a nice, enjoyable replay, and I thought vocals sounded great. If the bass was as emphasized as the graph would indicate, that probably wouldn't be the case, but for some reason, I'm not picking it up that way. Is it the ADI 2 DAC and the really clean output? Is this just... I have no idea. It did the mids fine. I've got no complaint. And that's the mids. They're pretty good. Okay, finally we got the treble. When I first listened to this set, I didn't think anything about the bass. And then I graphed it and I looked and I thought, oh, this is a big V bassy set. And then I listened to it and I thought, okay, that's why it didn't jump out at me, because bass isn't. But I noticed that the treble, I want extension, but this is a two-edged sword. It depends on the quality of the driver. If this is too elevated, it can give a grainy sound. It can give a sheen. It can add an artificial tinge to a dynamic driver that is usually assigned to balanced armatures that are done up there. This can be a danger zone. In my listening of the treble, using something like Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run, there's an instrument called a glockenspiel that's ding, 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 ding. It's way up there. It sounded borderline. I thought it sounded good, but I was listening for it in particular because it's a treble event. It's way up there. Is it present? Yes, it's present. Prior to this, when I was listening to rock and roll like Heart, Led Zeppelin, Dire Straits, the cymbal strikes never jumped out at me. And that's a good thing, because if they are, it's because I'm trying to figure out where are they, because I'm instantly, it's a problem. Or I'm like, damn, that's going to be fatiguing. The cymbals didn't do that, because it didn't even come into my mind. Like when I listened to Black Sabbath, because I'm focusing on drums and bass at 2 minutes and 36 seconds, and then I notice Ozzy Osbourne for some reason. There's sets that do that. This set didn't do that, and so I didn't really pay attention to an oddity potentially up in the upper mids or treble. But when I was listening for it, in particular, the Bruce Springsteen glockenspiel did sound like, that's energetic, I might turn this down just a little bit. I didn't, because I don't change from 77 dB, but the thought came to my mind. It is crystal clear. Cymbals prior to that weren't jumping out at me, though. So this is Boston. I showed this in a previous video where they're doing foreplay long time, which is an instrumental followed by a regular track. Foreplay would be the instrumental. Tom Schultz, the MIT grad, is using all kinds of stuff to get special effects. Plus, they're doing keyboards. They're doing everything they can to make this like a crescendo, this big, giant build-up like you'd get if you went to like classical performance at a half shell outdoors, like where they're just building up to this 1812 overture or stuff like that, where it's bam, kind of. That's what they're doing in foreplay, and it actually wasn't getting on me as much as the glockenspiel was. So I think that the treble has the potential to fatigue some depending on your library. With a rock and roll library, I had to really listen to it. Most of the stuff, mid and upper mids, guitar, vocals, they're going to give me indication of potential problems in the treble, in the upper treble, as we go off the scale and we're dealing with really strictly harmonics. I'd never really had any preview that something was going to go wrong, because I thought that the female vocals sounded so exquisitely excellent, especially for something that's, fuck the price range, that's a disclaimer I don't need to add. I thought that her vocals sounded awesome in Magic Man. I thought they were great, and I didn't notice the basis like I usually do. This, if you focus on it, and your library has a lot of stuff that's up in the treble, I mean 10K and beyond, you might want to think about that. It is a V set. That could be an issue, but I had to look for it. I found it with the glockenspiel. I didn't find it with foreplay, and at no previous time while evaluating bass and mids did a vocalist or cymbals jump out at me and give me a preview the treble was going to potentially be a problem. It is a V set, and whenever that's the case, one or the other could be fatiguing depending on what your listening preferences and what your hearing level is. There's a lot of variables in there. How much you listen, what the condition is, how long do you listen on a train for 30-minute sessions, going and coming back? Or do you listen while you work for 6, 7, 8 hours? It all kind of depends on that. I can't imagine what that is. Only you know that. But any V-shaped set that's got elevated bass and elevated treble has got the potential to fatigue anybody. I didn't find this to be an offensive set. I actually found it to be quite pleasing across the board. Bass is elevated, didn't sound as much as the graph would indicate. I thought the mids they sounded fine. Piano didn't sound back. I thought looking for the treble and a problem, I could find it, but prior to that, it was really not stepping out to me. For $15, it's an easy rec. I think they did a great job. I think it looks nice. I think it matches my image of a $15 set that sounds pretty good. Like I said, if I stepped on it, I wouldn't cry. That would suck, but I wouldn't cry. $15. And in the meantime, it sounds like a set that would adjust to different sources as well, like a warmer DAP, like my KZ EDX. I should actually try that before I do reviews. It sounds like it's got that capability to reflect the warmness of a warm DAP and the coldness of a cold one. I should really maybe revisit this. The CCA CA24, I decided right now is not going to get a video. It is the AST. It graphs virtually identical. They're both 12BA sets. They're both, I think that looks cool as fuck though. But I can't wreck it because if you have the AST, it's the same thing. If you didn't buy the AST, but we're going to pull the trigger because other people said it's dark, but it's appealing in its own way. I think this set looks better. It's got kind of a rubber on the outside. That's it. This is the KZ EDX Pro. I didn't get mine from Linsol. I bought it on the internet on Amazon.jp, but I'll go ahead and show Linsol because they send me stuff. So this is theirs, and it's $14, and that's it. Gets high rec because it's $14 and it sounds damn good, especially female vocals. And I'm out. Okay, this is the KZ EDX Pro. If I'm not mistaken, this is about $15. It's a single dynamic driver. It's $15. Its build quality is, again, it's $15. This is about McDonald's nowadays. If you really want to stuff yourself for two people that want to eat light, $15. This has extension. It's got slam. It's a fairly V-shaped set. I should have already hyped it in a video that you already watched, but this is what it looks like close up. I think it looks quite sharp. I think I also mentioned probably the CCA CA24, which is really the KZ AST. It graphs identical. It's got the same. It's good. I like the look of this better than the AST, but sound-wise, it's essentially identical, and it's $150. That's not a problem if you like that. This is $15, and it comes with the copper cable that they've been using recently. Very impressive stuff. I stuck it back in the box so that I could do an unboxing, but frig the unboxing. How many times do you have to see a KZ unboxing? This is nice. It looks nice. It fits good. It's got bass. It's got treble. It might be a little bit too much for some people, but good job, KZ. This is nice. This in this price range, this kind of performance, easy sell. Easy sell. Enthusiastically wrecked.